If you're new to the world of motorcycling, and especially adventure motorcycling and dual sport riding, you might think to yourself, why would someone want to pack an extra 40 to 50 pounds on their bike, camp in the freezing cold, and ride 600 miles over rugged terrain, mud, snow, and giant mud puddles? Well, I would tell you, because it's fun. And I'm going to show you why. This is Beyond Two Wheels. Here you see my DR650, loaded down with everything I would need to survive a night of camping and 2 days of riding over 300 miles in some rugged terrain. Now in total I would actually ride about 511 miles over the course of 2.5 days. I found out about this ride through drriders.com, a forum dedicated to the DR650 and DRZs, DR350s and DR250s. It's a place for enthusiasts with the same bike model as I have to go and post about their rides and plan rides and meet other riders with the same equipment. That's where I met Brad. Now we call this ride the sheetiron 300. The reason being is there's actually a ride that takes this specific route that's called the sheetiron 300, and it's put on by Oakland Motorcycle Club. Our ride leader, Brad, has actually made this ride before, he and Don, and had saved the route and decided that we should try it on our DR650s. Now, a little something about the sheetiron 300. When you sign up for the sheetiron 300, you bring your bags and your camping gear, and they transport it for you. So you're left with an empty bike. So us crazy DR guys decided to try it fully loaded down. It would definitely be an adventure. The bike was fully loaded and gassed up and ready to go. So after some kisses from my wife and my kids, it was time to roll out.
They're here!
Say bye to Daddy!
Bye, Daddy! Bye, Daddy! Bye, Dad! He made you wheelie!
I know.
Bye, Daddy! Bye, Dad! Bye, Dad!
Okay, so this is us. We're packing up and getting ready to leave camp. We got the DR all packed back up. This is where we slept last night. You see the tent squares on the ground. Pretty beautiful morning. I got it. Alright, well, welcome to Beyond Two Wheels. We're going to do some interviewing. State your name for the record.
Tom Wilke.
Tom was probably the oldest guy in the group, but amazingly, one of the best riders. I never saw Tom go down, and he seemed to have a great time. Tom Wilke, what's your plans for today, Tom?
Stay upright.
Stay upright?
Don't make everybody look bad.
Are you feeling optimistic?
Hell yeah.
All right. You got the heated jacket.
Very often.
Well, that's good. That's probably because you're careful, right?
I've been doing it for 45 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
I know I shouldn't have said it over there. God damn it.
State your name for the record.
James Bridges. Some shit.
James was probably the smartest one of the group. He always remained at the rear. That's why I call him the caboose. But he never had any problems, and he got to see everyone else's crash. And what's your plan for today?
Stay upright. And warm.
You can tell you guys are brothers because you have the same answer.
Upright and warm.
All right. So here's Tom.
What up?
Tombo was an experienced downhill mountain bike racer. He told us later that he had been doing it since he was 12 years old. I think it had a good effect on his riding ability. What's up? What's your game plan for today?
Try to stay mid-pack so I don't get lost.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you can follow me. I have the GPS on my thing with the map loaded in, so.
That'll make a difference. That and stay warm. I think probably everyone's saying that.
I think everybody's trying to stay warm. This here's Don. He's the bear of the pack. He snores like one anyway. Now, I called Don Captain Morgan because he had a very interesting ritual. If someone else crashed, he thought it would be a good idea if you struck a pose standing on their downed bike. Unfortunately, it never came to fruition. Don and Tom were brothers, and apparently Don and Brad had ridden all over the place, including Alaska and Colorado, Utah. I would find out later that Don was a pretty accomplished rider, because when I tried to chase him down, I ended up in the dirt.
Wasn't talk there, homie. You woke me up a couple times.
What's your game plan for today, Don?
Not to re-injure my ribs.
Not to.
stay on the bike and stay on the tires on the ground. So.
Sounds like a valid plan.
Having fun. We have a motto: fun first, safety second.
Oh, okay. Where does pain come in?
Somewhere in the middle.
Then we have Brad. Brad's the fearless leader of this group. Brad was the epitome of an adventure rider. He and Don had some definite adventures together. They had ridden 6,000 miles to Alaska and back on their DR and XR 650s. Some of the stories that he had to tell were pretty amazing. And from what I'd heard, he always put together great rides. What's your game plan for today, Brad?
Ride, keep everybody safe, have fun. Fun first, safety second.
There you go. I heard that somewhere.
Did you?
All right, buddy. State your name for the record.
MBUENO.
I had met Mateo and his partner Esteban in Maxwell the night before. We'd rode into camp together. Mateo was from the San Francisco area and rode a BMW F800. He rode it like it was a dirt bike. It was pretty amazing. He and Esteban were both from Colombia and had made their home here in California after spending some time on the East Coast. Mateo, what's your game plan for today?
Play it safe. See what the DRs are bringing to the table.
Uh-oh, we got a little BMW rivalry over here. State your name for the record.
Stay on.
Now, I call Esteban the real deal because he was actually on his way to San Francisco from Seattle when he decided to join our ride. In fact, the night before, he had made a 500-mile leg from Portland, Oregon down to Stony Ford. Later that night, he would tell us that he had actually ridden across India to see the Taj Mahal on a Royal Enfield 500 single. The guy was quite the world traveler. So, what's your game plan for today?
Keep up with you guys. Stay warm.
Yeah, all right. Seems like everybody wants to stay warm.
I don't know if it's possible.
So that's all of us. Now, if you watch my channel, you already know about me. But this would be my first adventure ride, true adventure ride. I would spend 3 nights away from home, camping off my motorcycle. And it was going to be a great time. So we're going to get this party started. Well, after everybody was packed up and we got Brad's bike pull started, we set off down the road. We made one last stop for fuel in the small town of Stonyford before we set out across the wilderness. I unfortunately was running a stock tank, so I needed to fill up for sure. We wouldn't see gas again until we got to Lake Pillsbury on the other side of the mountain range. Now that we had climbed out of the cold valley, a few hundred feet of hill climbing had left everybody feeling warm, so we decided to stop and shed a few layers. As we continued to climb, we would run into small patches of snow. Although they were small, it didn't mean they were any less slippery. few deep water crossings would ensure that nobody left the area with dry socks. But it didn't matter. We were having fun. While descending a steep, wet set of switchbacks, Mateo would have a very close call involving a steep embankment and some trees. Luckily for him, he avoided serious injury, but he sure gave us all an awful scare. After the next section of road, we ended up in Willets where we had lunch. Mateo and Esteban decided it would be in their best interest to take Highway 20 and meet up with us later in Fort Bragg. The next road we would take after Willets would be Sherwood-Fort Bragg Road. Now, Sherwood Road would prove to be the funnest of all. While in certain spots you had perfect traction because of the moist ground, in other spots there was a thin layer of muddy grease on top that sometimes would leave you sideways. This road would only claim one person, and that was Brad. Here you see a prime example of just how muddy certain spots were. When I came around the corner and saw Brad with his camera out, I knew something was up. We were all navigating Sherwood Road pretty well, but there was one problem. The sun was setting fast, so we needed to get out of there. When we knew, it was nearly dark inside the trees. It wasn't really dark, it was only about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but because of the dense tree cover, it looked like it was almost night. Unfortunately, Don's headlight failed, so he was stuck in the dark. But we pushed on, because we needed to make Fort Bragg before it was really, really dark.
my headlights shit.
We got into Fort Bragg around 6 o'clock. Once we got settled into our hotel rooms, we decided to go down to the wharf for some seafood and libations. We sat around and talked about the things we had been through during the day, how Brad tried to starve us at lunchtime, and the rides we had been on in the past. All in all, I learned a lot about my new friends, and I really enjoyed myself that day. The following day, I decided to go my separate way, though, because I wanted to get home to my family, so I did not make the return trip of the sheetiron 300. All in all, it was a great trip, and I can't wait to try it again. I think next time I will definitely make the return trip. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching Beyond Two Wheels.